Now we're going to talk about the guy who's broke.
That's us.
There is a rule. It's the 80-20 rule. It's the little things that are going to have that high return without the high dollar price tag.
Criminals are lazy.
Now, something people always forget, and this is probably the easiest stuff. Think strategically when you're doing your security systems. If you've ever been stopped at night by a patrol officer, what's the first thing they do? All right, well, hey, welcome back, everybody. It's MJ Johnston and my good
James Kerr.
James Kerr, the owner of Boss Security Screens.
We're wearing the same clothes every day.
You're always in the same clothes, sleeping outside.
So we just got done with a fun segment, right? The unlimited, right? The
blank
no
check.
holds bar, blank check.
What do you want?
What do you want?
Drones,
kind of security
dogs,
systems.
Serenity rooms.
Now we're going to talk about the guy who's broke.
That's us.
That's us. And so we're going to do some smart security on a budget.
Yeah.
All right.
$100 bucks.
$100. Well, I don't know that we're going to get it done under 100, but I think we could probably get pretty close. Because think about this. The first level is just making sure that your doors are protected. I mean, those are really your most vulnerable. They're the ones that are a threat to kicks and shoulders.
Where most likely going to come in first.
That's where they're going to most likely come in first. I mean, if they break a window, they got to crawl through the glass, and you're going to hear it.
Criminals are lazy.
So they're going to want to get in quick, and they're going to want to get out fast. And so if you really just start thinking about security in terms of the most vulnerable point, which is your entry, there is a rule out there. I don't know if you've ever heard it. It's the 80-20 rule. 20% of your investment, right, your security investment, will prevent 80% of the crime. So it's the little things that are going to have that high return without the high dollar price tag. So the simple things that we've talked, I don't know how many times we've mentioned it, but the little things like putting in the 3.5-inch screws that go into the door jambs all the way through and into the framing of the house.
Yeah, because you mentioned most builders, they're really cheap. They're going to use the cheap screws.
The short
little screws.
1.5-inch screws. You've all seen them if you've done your own doorknobs, right? They've got those tiny little screws that only go into the pine wood frame of the door.
Right?
Doesn't go deep enough.
And so this is really anyone can do that. You don't need to hire a handyman, right?
No, this is all stuff on a budget.
Home Depot, and we've got videos already on how to do that. So.
Yeah, so if you go out and look at some of the videos that we did at Home Depot, which I really enjoyed, I think we should do another segment
and
like that.
And they didn't kick us out, right?
No,
they were like, hey, go do it, right?
Yeah, go check it out. So let's get back to that 80-20 rule. If we can just do 20% of our investment and get 80% return on our strategies, now we're looking at the things that are like doors, windows, garages. So we start with those small deterrents, and then we layer up from there. And so it's not really that hard to get a build on a budget. Now, I know that we want to talk to people that maybe can't spend more than say a couple of $100 and maybe up to $1,000 or $2,000. There's really a lot of things that you can do, especially if you're handy at doing some of these things, that do-it-yourselfer type thing.
Or know someone who can do it for you.
Or know someone that can help you out with it. But all of these security measures are not difficult. There's so many specific applications, and we were just talking about them, right? One of my favorite is the doorstop. Okay, so that doorstop we were talking about, it's as simple as drilling a hole through the concrete right in front of your door, your entry door, and it's a very decorative piece. So you drill this hole, you put this nice grommet over the top of it, and then you have a metal piece that inserts into the hole, and then it arches up and rests against the door.
And holds it there.
And holds that door.
Kind of like when you used to hold the door shut with your foot.
Yep,
you know,
exactly
like your little brother's trying
principle.
to get in, you hold the door front with your with your foot.
With your foot. So
those are cheap. Those are like $30.
They're very inexpensive.
But
and
very effective.
Very effective. Yeah. And the nice thing about them is that if the door itself gets breached, right? If the locks fail, a door is going to flex. So if they are kicking the door or shouldering the door, the top part of the door is going to peel out and flex while the base is still being held.
Firm.
And that's going to keep that
kind of
recoil.
Absorbs the energy. But
absorbs the energy, does the recoil.
Yeah.
I remember this because we were in a SWAT.
Oh, you were trying to get through one of those doors?
We were trying to get through one of these doors. And the SWAT team had the ram out, and we were battering this thing and hitting it and kicking it, and this door kept flexing. We actually had to go to what we call the lock shot, where it's a shotgun that goes and it takes the hinges out, and then we're able to push the whole door system over and
you have to shoot like 3-4 times.
Yeah, you got to blow those hinges out of the door jamb.
I want to see that video.
Yeah. So there's a lot of tools there that help us get in, but that was the one time I'd ever seen a door that was difficult to get in, and it was as simple as an in-floor doorstop, which was just simply amazing.
You're never going to trip over it. It's kind of inset in the floor. It's designed to be in the floor, and then when you want to use it, it comes out up against the door.
And there's two styles. There's the kind you can put in, and then there's, of course, the kind that flip up. But, you know, when you're wanting to go out, you can pull that out.
It gets out of the way.
It gets out of the way very easily. We want to talk a little bit about maybe even the idea of financing some of these things. Now, I'm not a big fan of financing, but some people do need to look at those options. And there are a lot of companies that will come out and help you. But I do want to caution you on the idea. Think about this. You finance something for, say, $30 over 3 years. You could have probably just bought a $300 system that does the exact same thing, gives you the same level, but it allows you to do a one-time purchase. So I always want to caution people on the idea about that are really working with a budget is you don't want to skimp on these things, because if you get an inexpensive or an unreliable system, whether it's a camera, alarm system, or even the door locks themselves, because some door locks are built better than others. It's kind of like cars, right? You get your entry-level car or you get your Maserati. There's a whole wide range in the quality of the materials, therefore the strength, right? It's the same as in the screens, right? There's screens out there on the market, right? There's other screens, but they don't have the 12 by 12 mesh. They don't have the strength. They don't have the reinforced framing. So we know that they are not as superior as what you build. And the same thing goes for all of the products that are out there on the security market. So I would urge all of you to think about purchasing something. It might hurt a little bit, might sting a little bit, but get that initial purchase, make it a good purchase, a smart purchase, and then it's going to give you the return over time. And then you won't be replacing something 2, 3, 4 times. Because you bought something quality the first time, it will pay for itself.
The last thing you want to do is rely on something that you can't rely on, right?
And I know everybody wants to go with the most Gucci of things, right? I like Gucci. It's a Gucci tier. But everybody wants to go out there and have the best of the best. Smart locks and all of these really cool toys. But they don't necessarily replace the traditional locks. And keep it simple. I mean, I'm not a big fan myself of all the electronics that are out there. You know, because those kind of things have failure points.
Open door.
Wrong voice command.
Open door. Open door! Hey, with a rock?
I don't usually fail when I walk over and I turn the deadbolt. You know, so I have a high degree of success on that. But you know, the smart features give you the option of being able to do things remote control and while you're away. So those are nice features. But when you're talking about on a budget, think about some of those camera systems that like Nest, Ring. You know, they're very affordable and they provide really good layers of protection for your home. The same thing if you can't quite afford certain items, maybe a film on the window is a step towards, because you'll always have that film on the window. It's not going to go away. And then when you can afford that next layer of security, now you've got just 2 layers they have to penetrate and break. So think strategically when you're doing your security systems. What you do today should be like a foundational piece.
To build on it.
Yeah, you build on every layer. and everything that you add to your home. That's really the key component, everyone, is making sure that you do smart design and smart purchases.
So we're going to fortify the entry points, right? Either with the locking mechanism and the screws on the doors. And we're going to look at maybe a Ring camera, very inexpensive. SimpliSafe is one brand. We're not advocating for them, but it's just an example of an alarm system that you could set up pretty quickly and easily. You don't have to know anything about alarm systems, so that an alarm does trigger when someone does come through a door or slider. Or, speaking of sliders, I like that bar that pops down. There's another example of a low cost.
Oh, that's
right?
Maybe $25. Those are great, and it prevents people from being able to slide the slider over and get it into a position on the track where they can even get it out of the track. So those bars are really, really good. Now, something people always forget, and this is probably the easiest stuff: lighting. Lighting from a SEPTED perspective, and I don't know how many of you know or remember, but I am a certified SEPTED design
Tell us what
professional.
SEPTED.
So SEPTED is crime prevention through environmental design. We talk about things like natural surveillance. That's the ability to see things. And when you want to be able to have a direct line of sight, you need to make sure things like your landscaping is properly trimmed.
Doesn't get in the way.
Okay, they got the 2 foot, 6 foot rule, where your bushes shouldn't be over 2 feet tall, and the canopy of your tree shouldn't hang lower than 6 feet, because that's going to block your field of view. And those are almost no cost if you do it yourself.
So you want people who are walking by or driving by to be able to see suspicious behavior, right?
Absolutely.
Because the bad guys love the lower canopies and the higher bushes, right?
They love that. They love to have those hiding spots.
Right.
Now, the other thing, lighting. I bet you didn't know this, but you can have too much light.
You had mentioned it,
Yeah.
Because you can't see colors.
You can't see colors, you get glare, you get washout. So there's a delicate balance between having too little light, too dim of a light, that casts and creates shadows and hiding spots. But then you have light that's too overbearing. Now you've got the glare, and you've got the effect where you can't look into the light. Think about it like this. If you've ever been stopped at night by a patrol officer, what's the first thing they do?
Shine a light in your eyes?
They start shining lights. Okay, we have what we call our overheads. We've got our spotlights. We create what is called a wall of light.
Oh, it's deliberate.
It's deliberate. We do that because it makes it hard for you, the driver, to see us on the approach. Well, that same wall of light works for our advantage. It's a disadvantage if you've got too much light at your home. Now you can't see things. So there's that delicate balance. And I don't think a lot of people know that almost every police department in the country has a SEPTED certified person, and they offer that service for free. Contact your local police department. Ask them to come out and do a SEPTED review of your home. It's inexpensive.
That's awesome.
You don't have to do all of the recommendations that they make. You don't have to do any of them. But they're going to come out and they're going to give you some really solid advice. You're going to have an opportunity to talk to an officer about local crime rate. You're going to be able to talk to them about local trends, what's going on in the neighborhood, and it's going to help you educate yourself. So I would really urge everyone to think about SEPTED because it is one of the least expensive, most effective methods out there to start reducing crime in your home and in your neighborhood.
That's an awesome suggestion. So when it comes to lighting, we want good lighting.
We want good
We want to
lighting.
be able to see either through our cameras or out of our windows or neighbors to be able to see what's going on. And the bad guys are like cockroaches. They don't like light in general, right? Because they prefer to do things in the dark.
Yeah, well, you want to stand behind that concealability.
Right.
And, nobody wants to stand out there and be seen.
Yeah.
So the trick is get in, get out before anybody notices.
Yeah.
I think we've laid out a pretty good foundation of what a person can do on a budget. Just go out and make sure that you're looking at what options you have. Don't make any rash decisions. You have questions, you got people that you can reach out to. We're always here. And of course, your local police departments are there for you if you need any help with a SEPTED review. So for this, I think we've ended our segment on how to build on a budget.
Yep.
And we want to thank you for visiting our podcasts. And
we're gonna
James, take it away.
Ready? Oh.
Have a great day.